fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
It's a brand new season, and with a brand new season comes new challenges, new opportunities, new adventures to be had, new races to be written and foretold. This is the Nurburgring, a track which has been raced forever and a day here on the iRacing service since its inception, and one which opens out racing action for the iRacing Grand Prix Series. Welcome everybody to the party and welcome to the conversation. The Nurburgring, our home. I'm Jake Sperry, Scott Fountain, along with me for the ride around a place which has seen so much racing action over the course of the last couple of seasons with this championship. And Fonty, a place which is a familiar home to both you and I, as a track we've both been to, both visited together, and a track which does offer opportunities and probably one of the great thrills of Grand Prix racing over the course of a single lap.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Hello, everybody, and yeah, welcome to another round of IGPS. It's fantastic circuit. This is where myself and Sperry met for the first time in real life, and many a great experience shared here. The Sim Racing Expo is hosted at the Nurburgring every year, although the past few years have been slightly changed due to the world pandemic. But here we go. We'll take a look at this beautiful circuit. Sperry, you want to run us through that?
Absolutely. This is a track which, for 5.07 kilometers, is incredible. You have that run down towards turn number 1, which often proves to be the prime place on a track here to make an overtake through into that Mercedes arena if you haven't got it sorted. But then you've got the runs down the Dunlop hairpin, the Schumacher S, up through Ravenel and up through the Advan Arch, over towards Vidal, and then the Hyundai N-curve to end the lap. It's a really, really cool circuit, and it's really cool to see action in place here today. Few things to keep in mind, a few different drivers up there near the front, but some drivers remain the same out there in terms of their qualifying efforts out there at this point in time. Best 8 of 12, once again, is the port of call for this championship. And whoever can put themselves up at the very tippy top is going to be a real confidence booster for them. Just 2 minutes remaining here in qualifying right now. And it is Ben Fuller, number 1, Apex Racing Team, getting himself up then on the front at the moment. Tamash Simon second and Kalen Chin in third place at this point in time. And then we haven't seen so far in this series, but so aggressive on the early goings. See a couple drivers now making progress. This is Adam Gleason looking for a run here to improve. Well, not necessarily improve. He's out of laps, but still getting the practice in as possible. Behind, though, Simon and Stepanov both on laps.
Yeah, there we go. Stepanov, quick driver, and expect good things from him today. Good to see Fuller right at the top there. He's struggled in previous rounds. Last season, I should say, in a couple of rounds. But good to see him come out on top today.
Absolutely, and Stepanov over the line, a 22.7 good enough to be fastest out there on track. So a big lap time from Oliver Stepanov gets the job done. Kent Nielsen also on his final lap. He's currently 9th fastest at the moment on a 23.638. We're running 29 laps of racing here today, and that lap doesn't count for Kent, so he cannot improve. The only other driver who can is currently Jorge Martinez, but I think he's going to be out of time with 40 seconds on the clock, and only now just descending down to the lowest point of the circuit, this Dunlop hairpin, very carousel-esque inspired, but we will see how close he gets to setting a time. It's a long run back up the circuit, as you can see from a driver's eyes perspective here, going through the Schumacher-esque, the Spaniard trying to really challenge to this Ravenel corner, this 90-degree left-hander, where everything is about it. You can see the current lap time, 4.5 minutes. Absolutely not going to be a representative time. So let's take ourselves then down the field, have a look at the grid, and see how everybody is going to be stacking today here at this opener at the Nurburgring. A 29-lap race, we believe, a compound swap race as well to add on. And it's car number 2 in control here today. Oliver Stepanov has himself the control with Ben Fuller alongside for the ride. Tamas Shimon, he starts 3rd with Kalen Chin in 4th position. Jorge Martinez and Adam Gleason makes a star-studded 3rd row overall. Thomas Wieck will go from 7th with Marco Sanfilippo, car number 8, in 8th position. Kent Nielsen and Darren Parker rounding out then the top 10 of the grid. Bruno Canavas, the first Brazilian, in 11th with Jacob Reed in 12th. That leads off Anthony Cat and Victor Awad in 13th and 14th. Stefan Chantal, nice to see him back in the series. He's got Evan Way for company on row 8 with Thomas Knoll and Jacob Behrens rounding out 18 drivers. Nathan Graham, the California kid, with Klaus Siemetz makes 20 with Adam Webb and Pablo Suarez on row 11. And then sorted by iRacing, Isak Ruska is ahead of Jan Stratinsky, the Swede and the Canadian, then holding the 12th row of the grid. 2 splits then here today. Drivers all having to be very alert. 17 instant points, 25 to a DQ. Track temperature 25 degrees. Winds in at around 15 kilometers an hour, gusting about a little bit as they look to get themselves set up today for racing action. A lot of drivers starting today on the medium compound tyre. A couple going for the soft. They include Ben Fuller, Jorge Martinez, Jacob Reed, Thomas Wieck, Bruno Canavas, Jacob Behrens, and Jan Stratinsky. Everyone else starting the race on the yellow compound tyre, the medium out here today. So the differences between soft and medium, keep them in the back of the mind. They have 2 minutes to grid, or they start from that place known as pit lane. And my goodness, the run to turn 1 has often been fraught with danger around this track. Who's got what it takes to start their season off correctly? Who wants to put themselves up at the very front? 2 minutes then has been put together as the green flag drops and we are underway. It's a slow start by Ben Fuller off of the front. Immediately it allows Tamas Shimon to move alongside. Stepanov covers on the insides. They run into turn 1. Marco Sanfilippo goes sideways. And is he going to collect anyone else? No. They all funnel, but there was drama at the back. 3 drivers getting caught out. 4 drivers, 4 or 5 even, before we even got down to turn 1. Oh my word, not what we want to see off of the start of a race like this. That drivers out, Reed, Awad, Behrens, Siemetz, all involved in the early stages. They run down the hill through the opening go, and it just looked like somebody didn't go off the start. Well, in the end, it was Darren Parker who didn't go and tried to go in the early stages, but it looks like running into the back of Darren Parker was Jacob Reed, who would have been surprised about that. Nice start, though, here in this field as they run up through the very, very difficult right-hander here, leading to that Advan corner. Stepanov leads, Fuller second. It's Simon in third. Kalen Chin is in 4th position overall and trying to give himself as much room as he possibly can. In 5th position, Jorge Martinez. Then it's Thomas Wieck, who has moved up into 6th position, and a whole host of drivers gaining on this opening lap. They don't get DRS till lap 3, but Fonty, what an incredible opening lap.
Yes, certainly right. It's very an incredible opening lap. Tell you what, Klaus Siemetz, he'll be disappointed with that, considering the pace that he had in qualifying. And we're already seeing it on for the race lead here. Ben Fuller, Stepanov side by side. Wonder how long these guys can do that for. It's going to be no rubbing of tyres. Otherwise, it's not like touring car racing. We can often see that happen, but they're going to get very close either way.
Certainly are, and the position change. So Ben Fuller moves up into the race lead with that pass as they run down through. And it is expected to see Ben Fuller make that pass early. He's on the soft compound, everyone else on the mediums. And with that in mind, it is going to be early doors working to try and make that move and get that position working. A little bit further back in the pack, then you see some of the mid-pack scraps going through. That's Stefan Chantal out there on screen. He's got Adam Webb just behind him for a little bit of company out on circuit. It's also worth noting that Kent Nielsen is all over the back of Adam Gleeson. You just saw him there in the front of shot trying to make that move. As you can see, running through this very difficult section of track. It's a tough track today to make overtakes on, and in the background, Adam Webb in a bit of trouble there getting into the gravel, but up the hill, left and right chicane comes along here, and this is where you have to be so pinpoint in cars that love to spin the rears.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can easily make a mistake on one of these cars and find yourself getting absolutely swamped by the rest of the field. Adam Webb dropping back there. We'll flick back and have a quick look and see what happened to him.
Yeah, and that would definitely be a good idea to do so. As you can see, Adam Webb out there on track, very congested behind him as well, as we take a look at the Virtual Racing School replay then. Massive thanks to the Virtual Racing School. And this is what he's looking at, trying to run in towards turn number 1, try and find himself an overtake and an opportunity. You can see just lunging it on the brakes. Doesn't quite manage it though, so that's not going to be ideal. Marco Sanfilippo had a moment there in the back of that, which certainly didn't help things either, and you'll see it there just in the back of shop. Marco Sanfilippo getting into a bit of trouble, so he found himself on the wrong side of things there on the Virtual Racing School replay. But at least at this moment, you can see another little look at this one going through. This is how Marco Sanfilippo's issue came into light here, Fonty. You can see it's just the smallest tap, and oopsie daisy.
Yep, certainly it doesn't take much to send one of these cars sideways. He's managed to get away with it. Don't think there's any damage on the car as such, but we will see if he starts to drop back.
Yeah, we certainly will. That was contact with Pablo Suarez out there on circuit. But let's get ourselves back then to racing coverage here, as there is Kalen Chin in 4th position, trying to chase down the champion of last season, Tamash Samon, moving through the big turn number 1 out there on circuit through that S. You got Martinez, you got Veek, they're all there. Adam Gleeson, Kent Nielsen, Bruno Canavas, and Nielsen goes. Kent Nielsen goes, going through turn 2. Everyone has to scatter to avoid, and somehow Stefan Chantal careens across the circuit and doesn't make any contact.
I think we'll be going back and have a look at what happened there. It was a unfortunate bit of a situation there for Kent Nielsen. He'll be absolutely kicking himself with that one.
Well, Knowles off in a very similar situation to David Coulthard in the mid to late 90s there. Just a little bit of contact, and he goes straight on into the fence, and that is Thomas Knowles' day completely over. So a lot to dissect then on this lap, thanks to the Virtual Racing School.
There we go. So it's going to come through the left, the right, and then just does he tag with someone as he's coming in to this left-hander?
You can see here over the left, and that's the smallest tap. It doesn't matter how much you jam those brakes on, gravel is not the easiest surface to stop on, and that proves a lot in terms of an issue out there on circuit. So we'll take ourselves then back. So this is the Kent Nielsen spin. It's Chantal here who is the driver that definitely needs the most focus out there in terms of this. So Nielsen just trying to go through the power. Doesn't quite work, but it's Chantal who has to commit one way or the other. He decides, just to commit at the wrong time. How he keeps that car pointed straight, I have no idea.
Yeah, he was incredibly lucky there to not to make contact with Kent Nielsen, and Nielsen has dropped all the way back to 14th now. Still plenty of race to go, and he has got away with that without any damage, so expect to see him make his way up the order still.
Yeah, definitely would want to, and it's going to be a long road to make that happen. There we can see the secondary group, Jorge Martinez in control of it, with Thomas Veek and Adam Gleeson there just behind, trying to give chase and try as much as possible. Bruno Canavas has made good progress here. He's up 3 spots just behind that group. Biggest gainers, though, in the field. Nathan Graham up 7 places so far in this race. He is the biggest mover overall, 19th to 12th. And this is going to be an important race between now and the end of this one. In the gravel goes Nathan Graham, and all that work has gone away.
Yeah, there we go. He put the commentator's curse on him there, Sperry, and he has managed to get away with it. But I think he's going to drop a little bit further back down the field. Taking a look at this on replay. Oh!
Just bites away from him on the curb there. You get a different property on one tyre compared to the other 3. You're always going to have less grip, and the car's always going to want to brake a different direction, Fonty.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's always going to want to brake in the opposite direction. These cars snap very, very quickly, and you can soon find yourself on the fence. But looking back at the front here, Ben Fuller has opened up a gap now just on 1 second. Jorge Martinez has dropped quite far back, really, from Chen in front of him. He's 4.3 seconds back, so struggling a little bit, or is this part of his strategy to look after the tyres?
No, I think he's struggling. 1.2 seconds a lap. He just does not have the pace in comparison to everyone around him, and that little blink there, I don't think helps things either. So it's a lot of work still in this race, a long way to go, but I think it's a fight of the 4 at the front of Fuller, Stepanov, Simon, and Kalen Chin in the number 5 car. So that's definitely an option to keep in mind as drivers want to work on and find as much of an opportunity as they can. Fuller getting the drive on, moving through then the important right-hand bend of the Hyundai N-Curve and looking to lead another lap out there in this race. So he starts lap 7, and a lot of drivers behind are starting to think about where they want to place themselves and how aggressively they want to go about their race. Some drivers have gained quite a few positions over the last couple of laps. Marco Sanfilippo definitely one of them as we look at this battle. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Pass for 12th on its way against Evanway. And that then is going to be... Oh, off the road goes Evanway. He very nearly takes the GSAM Strecker layout and play 24 hours of the Nurburgring. Why don't we?
And there we go. Let's go back and see what has gone on here.
It's very simple, Fonty. He outbrakes himself, and it is so easy to do out here on track. You can see in 7th gear, not wanting to hit 8th, just clicking down the gears, and the car just doesn't want to turn. And that's why, if you get thrown out of a rhythm, it is so easy to make mistakes like that. So, still a long way to go in this race, but the last thing you want to be doing is making small mistakes early in a car, which is very difficult at the best of times to handle.
Yep, that's exactly right. These cars, I certainly have no pace in them, that's for sure. They are a very, very difficult car to drive and master, and these guys here in this top split race do a fantastic job. Just seeing this nice little battle here. I think Thomas Vick's going to get past Jorge Martinez pretty quickly. He looked very racy the last lap. Was looking for an opportunity, but couldn't quite find it. We're going to see it into turn 1. No, we're not.
Nope, not yet. And it's a tough way to try and get by around this circuit. Mainly because here, Fonty, you don't have that long Herman Tilke inspired 1 kilometer straight, that gives you that opportunity to attack. This is an old school style circuit. It was modified from where it was in what was 1999, where it was 1999 to 02, where it was a right and a left as the opening chicane. They modified it to be a Mercedes arena. But the one thing this track definitely doesn't have is the room to make that a reality, mainly because you've got a very, very important freeway, or autobahn essentially, up near it. So you're going to be in a position where you don't really have the land space to go and make many changes to the circuit.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, very difficult place to pass around here. Can be a little bit of a procession at times, and drivers really need to set up moves well. Not really any sort of runoff that cars can take without getting into gravel. So often we'll see in this racing that, you know, cars will exploit track limits to be able to try and get a run or whatnot. While around here, you can't do that very often.
Yeah, And it's quite telling when if you run off, you lose that time, you lose that space. You've got to be aggressive to get it back. Here's Adam Gleeson then on the back. Another little look from Thomas Veek, who has really been searching to try and find a way past Marquez, and he's not quite managed it at this point in time. It's worth noting that the top two are breaking away here from third and fourth. Tamas Simon now 1.5 seconds back of Oliver Stepanov. 1, 2, and 3 by iRacing in this race are 1, 2, and 3 out there on circuit. And they started 2, 1, and 3 in terms of their grid positions.
Yep, there we go. Been going to be pretty mixed up by the end of the race, I feel, though. I certainly think Stepanov has the pace to be able to do this. And I'm interested to see if that tyre of Ben Fuller's can last the distance. I'm not sure if it will with how aggressive this track is.
Well, I do expect a lot of drivers to make a compound swap at some stage out there in this race. I think it's a different dimension over the course of what's going on. There's Bruno Canavas on the back of this one in the number 15 machine. And these drivers here, they're going to have to be very careful about how quick they're going, because Darren Parker just behind them was faster than all of them on that last lap by a couple of tenths of a second. He's only 1.4 off this group. He gets within a second. I'd say he might be in a prime position.
Yep, certainly right. There we go. He's into the pit lane making a stop early. So he is one of our first takers in the lane that weren't involved in any accidents early on. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out.
Certainly does. He's on the yellow wall, medium compound tyres. He hits his marks. He'll go up on the jacks and he'll change to the softs. Now, they do have to make that compound change over the course of the race. And what is quite telling about that is that it's a very early switch, just 10 laps, essentially, 9 laps fully run on that soft, on the medium compound tyre, going to the soft, which screams to me that Darren Parker wants to undercut everybody in front of him and then decide, okay, when I'm ahead, I can defend because this is a tough track to make overtakes on.
Yeah, well, it's going to be certainly potentially give a little bit of an indication to Ben Fuller on how long his tyres are kind of going to last for. Maybe will he come in around about the lap sort of 20-odd mark, 22 mark? Or will he just...
Oh, and Ben Fuller, my goodness, he is dancing at this point in time. Had a huge moment going through the chicane where the back end tried to step out about 5 times in a second and a half.
Oh, I will go back and have a look at that and see what's going on here for Ben Fuller. Very good driver is Ben Fuller.
One of the only drivers out there, back when this was the Williams FW31, which is not too long ago, who was able to win a race in this series by a lap. You can see, just gets up in the air with the rear tyres and he has to really fight for that grip. It's so easy when the car effectively compression bounces over a curb for the back end just to want to step away here in iRacing. That's a really good stop there from Mr. Ben Fuller to not only keep the car pointed in the right direction, but to keep himself in the lead of this race as another driver comes into pit. That's Adam Gleeson, who's come in, and that's a good call, I believe, here by Adam, diving in, making the stop when he has, because he's completely covered off Darren Parker.
Yeah, he certainly has covered him off. Seen Anthony Catt come and do a pit stop as well there, so Kent Nielsen just flying past him now.
And now you're starting to see strategy come into play. Drivers who are on old tyres versus drivers who are on new tyres and maybe a little bit out of position. So it puts a little bit of a strain right now on Marquez, on Veek, on Canavas in their strategies right now. Top 4 all staying out longer then in terms of this race, and they will make sure that their race is sorted as much as possible. The next 3 drivers all stay out as well, but you can see the DRS flap open for Oliver Stepanov with these Mercedes W12E performance cars. Won the Constructors' Championship in 2021, and some would say got robbed of the World Championship for Lewis Hamilton, but doesn't matter what side you're on, we love good racing.
Yep, that's what we're here for, good racing, and these guys certainly know how to turn it on for us, give us a good show. It's still really hot at the front there. Stepanov just doing a fantastic job, hanging on there, 0.6 of a second behind, looking after those tyres out front as Ben Fuller. I think he wants to try and keep them on the car as long as possible, or will he stop and do another set of softs? could potentially be the case.
Definitely could do, but he does have to make a compound switch, which is the key. So he will have to move to either the medium or the hard over the course of this race. So Ben Fuller knows he's got the good tyre on at this point, hasn't been able to shake Oliver Stepanov away, and he'll have to do something on the medium. Here's Tamas Simon, who is now back in 4th position. He's lost the place to Kalen Chin. Now, the question is, where has he gone and lost that position? Because that seems to be out of a relative nowhere there, and he actually lost it coming into turn number 1 on the start of lap 11. Kalen Chin diving down the inside by a country mile, getting it stopped somehow and moving through into position. So ultimately a change of place then for 3rd. Tamas Simon will have to sit behind.
Yep, good driving there from Kalen Chin. Haven't seen that name around too often, but yeah, certainly doing a fantastic job there to get past Tamas Simon.
Yes, and now that is going to leave a lot in the back of the mind as drivers try and work out where's the best place to be. One driver's just dived into the pits, Nathan Graham, who we saw have that little spin earlier on, able to recover himself quite nicely, but now will line up in his box. You can see he'll go up on the jacks, he'll get fresh tyres, the softs go on, and he'll be off and away again.
Yep, not a bad stop there by Nathan, and he'll rejoin out on the track in 18th position, so plenty of free track in front of him, which always makes it easier to try and get yourself into a nice rhythm.
Yeah, and that nice rhythm, just get a few laps together under the belt and work those 16 laps in to get yourself over towards the end of this race. That's going to be the key in terms of how his race is conducted. Into the pits, that's a late call. Ben Fuller, race leader, is going to come in then at the end of lap 13.
Here we go, Fuller in the lane. What's he going to do? He will chuck another set of softs on it. We are halfway through. Oh no, he won't chuck another set of softs on it, because it will be the compound change. So yeah, definitely chuck the mediums on. I don't think we'll see him put the hards on. Really pushing this one. There we go. Tyre change, yellow compound tyres go on, and 3.8, not bad.
Not bad. It'll put him just behind Canavas, and he'll have Marco Sanfilippo for a bit of company. Now, the one thing that Ben Fuller's going to be hoping for in the next few laps is that Canavas, Veek, and Martinez all make the decision to dive into the pits and make a tyre change, because the last thing he wants is to have to try and make some moves. He knows what he wants. He wants some clean air to go and attack on these mediums, get them working well, because it's going to be a lot of work early. Pablo Suarez, though, losing the place. Anthony Catt flying on by after his stop. Kent Nielsen, he is with as well. So those two fighting for position.
Yep, there we go. Looks like he struggled coming out of the lane there. Maybe not enough heat in the tyres going into turn 1. And yeah, needs to try and find his rhythm again.
Certainly does, and positioning is key. There is Kalen Chin and Tamas Simon, 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Stepanov staying out longer, so too Chin, so too Simon. They're running to a number out there. You can see just how dirty there the visor of one Mr. Tamas Simon is, running down towards turn number 1 out there on track. The 3 drivers behind choosing to stay out as well. We said that it's going to be an interesting strategy game. About a third of the field went onto the soft to start the race. Everyone else went onto the mediums. I think the medium is a tyre that cures and is a little bit easier to run long stint. So the question is, how far do you want to run it, knowing that you got that soft compound tyre or even the hard compound tyre that you've got to put on at some point?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. You've got all of these choices to make in these particular cars, and it's all up to you. You don't really, well, most of the time don't have a team behind you telling you when to stop, so it's all about making your own strategy. Looking at the track temp here, show in Fahrenheit, but reasonably cold, so the tyres should look after themselves pretty well around here, I would think.
Yep, 27 degrees in centigrade, something. There is a formula for it. I don't quite know which one it is, but it's still a really good battleground out here on track, and these cooler conditions are maybe extending the life ever so slightly. Into the pits comes Oliver Stepanov then from the race lead. Will be followed by Kalen Chin, but Tamas Simon will stay out. He will take a lap lead in the books as he will go around. In fact, he won't get a lap led because Stepanov got to the line before him, but he will lead this race for a little bit longer out there. So the question will be, Ben Fuller should be ahead of Stepanov by a good second and a half. But remember, Fuller's going to be on mediums. All the drivers behind are going to need to attack on the softs. Stepanov goes away, so he'll move through with Ben Fuller, but he's got to run. And the one issue he's got is he'll be running straight into the lap of Canavas and Veek if he's not too careful.
Yeah, certainly right. And yeah, it certainly doesn't want to be held up by those guys.
Absolutely not. And the flurry of activity in the pit. Chantal pitted. Marco Sanfilippo came down in and made a stop as well. And those drivers now able to get themselves off and away again onto their next phase of the race at this moment in time. Your race leader is Tamas Simon, yet to pit out of the front four. So it is going to be a very important battle out there. So Simon knows that by going longer, he's trying to be more aggressive later on. They can see Marco Sanfilippo trying to make his drive in and comes Tamas Simon to make his stop. So he's decided, I'll go one lap longer than everyone else. I will try and make an overcut strategy work, just 80 kilometers an hour down here on the lane. It's a quick pit lane, and Martinez pits with Veek and Canavas. All together they come in, and that releases Ben Fuller to the detriment of Ollie Stepanov.
Yep, there we go. Fuller is through. He's gonna make his way through on Tamas Simon. 3.8 seconds stop there for Simon, not too bad. And he's gonna come out in fourth.
Just behind Kalen Chin, who did everything right there in terms of that stop. And ultimately now, it's about how aggressive on the softs drivers can be. Now, crucially, Adam Gleason leapfrogs Darren Parker, leapfrogs Martinez and Canavas, and Veek with a very slow stop out there on track finds himself on the wrong side of things then. So Veek, who has gone out on the medium then, is going to need a little bit of work to bring himself into play. That's not quite the plans that we are expecting or having in mind at this point, but as they run through, we now have a better idea of where everyone is and what they need to do between now and the end of this race.
Certainly do. Fastest pit stop from anyone out there so far. Bruno Canavas, yeah, 3.2 second stop for him. So he is started in 11th, up in 9th at the moment. He has moved forward, which he's got to be happy with.
Absolutely. And now you start wondering, where can you go? What can you do? And ultimately, Kent Nielsen here in this race, he's in the middle of all of this because he's got Veek just in front. He's cleared Anthony Cat. Marco Sanfilippo's chasing behind. And the gap at the front, 1.2 seconds for Ben Fuller, who is on the mediums against Oliver Stepanov on the softs. So Stepanov, 24.6 he did on his first flying lap around the track. And that is half a second quicker than what Ben Fuller was able to manage. So Stepanov knows that he's quick enough to get back within DRS range. The difficulty, though, and it's what the late Murray Walker would always say, catching's one thing, passing's another.
Yeah, especially around a track like this as well. And Ben Fuller is no slouch. He will know how to hold up Stepanov for as long as he can. 11 laps left in this race, so yeah, I think that Oliver will find a gap pretty easily, but is he going to wear out the tyres? Trying to find that gap is the next question.
I tell you what, speaking of drivers running out their tyres, Isaac Ruska currently yet to pit in 6th position, and he is doing a job right now, holding up Martinez and Canavas in this field. It's allowing Darren Parker the ability to run away out there in this field. And this is a long stint. This is 18 laps on that medium tyre. And to consider this is a 29-lap race, this really is going to be a bit of a splash and dash from Ruska as he tries to go through. It does Martinez trying to pick and prize open. He's not going to get in that safe easily.
No, he's certainly not leaving him any room. Although he's on a faster tyre. And he comes now. So, yeah, very long stint there for Ruska. But he will have a fresh set of softs to run through to the end of the race.
He absolutely will. And those softs will probably be the most electric out of the entirety of this field at this point in time. So battles to keep an eye out on. The race lead battle you can see there. The battle 3rd and 4th, which you can see just behind that. Kalen Shin versus Tamash Simon. Then you got the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, and I would say tentatively 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, all the way back to Marco Sanfilippo. All of that still yet to be decided right now in what has been an incredibly close race here today at the Nurburgring.
Yep, incredibly close race. And, yeah, great driving by these guys. I expected to see a few more incidents from what we've seen so far. Guys doing a fantastic job. Oh, he's having a look at the front. Is stepping off on Fuller. Maybe just throwing the dummy there. Trying to put off Fuller to make him have a mistake. But he is too wise to that. Are we going to see him get the run into turn 1?
I wouldn't think this time, but you can see he's got the DRS flat wide open. He's thinking about it, lunging down to the inside. Fuller leaves him just enough room, and they're going to continue their scrap here up through turn 2. Fuller, with the worst tyres, cannot use that traction on the inside, sweeping around to the race lead. It is Oliver Stepanov who gets himself forward.
There we go. Good move there. Well executed. He set that up. Got a good run onto the front straight. And, yep, no problems at all there for Oliver Stepanov.
No problems at all, and it really shows. Now, Thomas Wieck here has lost a position on the front stretch as well. So Kent Nielsen getting the DRS pass into turn number 1. Got it done nice and early through into the corner. So another pass being scored complete, and Wieck on the wrong tyre going backwards.
There we go. Just getting a replay here of Kent Nielsen. Jump on board and see him make that move. Done pretty easily. Was contested really at all there by Wieck, and Kent Nielsen certainly has the pace at this stage.
Well, I think Wieck would have contested it if he had the right tyre in comparison, but he's going to be down probably about a second a lap, and he's already struggling now. We go back to live side by side with Anthony Catt at this point in time, who's just gone through upper position. So Thomas Wieck is really losing out, because now it'll be Marco Sanfilippo who will want to get through, but it's now a case of a DRS grudge match as they run up the hill. Wieck will try and come back here into the chicane, but Catt just leaves enough room, and he keeps a hold of the position.
Yeah, this is going to give a run to Sanfilippo potentially on this front straight. Certainly looks like he's struggling on those medium tyres. Is Thomas Wieck. Are we going to see Sanfilippo go for a move here? No, he's not going to be close enough, but Wieck's going to go back again underneath Anthony Catt. He's going to get the move done, taking it back now through this next section of track. Will he be able to hold on to it though?
Well, you can see just how much time they've lost though in comparison to Kent Nielsen. He was 1.4 seconds clear by the time that they went through. So Wieck here with Catt, with Sanfilippo, is giving absolutely everything at this point in time, and is really showcasing that he has got grit and determination to hold on to this race and to keep himself in that top 10 position out there on track. There is Marco Sanfilippo, and the view that he's got of Anthony Catt. He wants to try and find a way through. Remember, he had himself caught up earlier on in this race. He found himself with a little bit of a tap with Pablo Suarez trying to run back through the field, and now the Palermo's driver is going to try and get as close, if not overtake, Anthony Catt, if he can possibly manage it.
Yep, if is the big question. There is limited passing opportunities turn 1. He's got to set himself up well off that last turn to be able to get a run down there. He's inside with DRS. So as we come onto the front straight, is he going to get a decent run out of it? It was certainly better than the last lap. I think he might be able to get it on this one.
He might, and this is going to be the key. Can he find the pass? Maybe going to have to be brave down the inside. No room at the end there. Anthony Catt was wise to it, broke at the latest available opportunity to cover off that move. Worth noting as well that Darren Parker has fallen behind Jorge Martinez. That was a pass about 3 laps ago down into turn number 1. So Parker now back in 7th, Martinez up to 6th. And he's trying to give chase to Adam Gleeson right now, who, remember, was only 1 lap later pitting than Darren Parker because he was trying to cover him off.
Yeah, there we go. Gap between Gleeson and Thomas Simon, 16 seconds. for those guys. So the front 4 cars really have some pace in them today. Thomas Simon, we're getting very racy on the back of Chin here. Going to be able to make the move back.
Well, the question's going to be if and not when. He'll have the DRS, but it's about how he wants to make that move. He'll close up then. Kalen Chin stuck at 292. Tamas Simon, by comparison, was running well up, 305 kilometers an hour. So a 13k difference with DRS on the straight. And just look at Kalen Chin and the way he's driving that car. That is such a tail-happy machine.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, not enough downforce on the rear by the looks of it. Certainly playing in the favour of Tamas Simon. Back shot here. See him coming out. Oh, really using all of that track, isn't he?
Well, you pay for a road tax every year. You might as well use all of the road, right, Fonty?
That's right, yep. All the road, the curbs, and the grass as well.
Oh, might as well make it a rally car.
Yeah,
F1
man.
rally cars. Look at that. We do ideas here at SimSpeed. But at least at this point, Kalen Chin, who is using all of the road, is doing everything he needs to hold this race pretty much in step. And it's worth noting that Ben Fuller's not completely fallen off the back of Oliver Stepanov for this race lead either. He has got those mediums back into that window, and this is what we saw quite a bit in the opening stages of this race. How the drivers on the softs were able to break away early, but the mediums were able to get a couple of tenths of a second back when those soft tyres start to cure and hit that cliff, and then they start to lose that generated pace, which makes this race very, very difficult to win dash lose.
Yeah, exactly right. And Ben Fuller, he is a master. We've seen him win many a time in the past, and maybe he knows something that Stepanov doesn't, or Stepanov's been just pushing those softs a bit too hard, and they're going to fall off a cliff. 5 laps left in the race. I think that Fuller may have the pace here to do it.
He definitely could do. And he's got to try and reconstruct a move if that is possible in this one. It's not a foregone conclusion. It's not a guarantee. And he knows that this is a long way to go. Now Tamas Simon riding up through the Schumacher S's and really trying to give as much as he can possibly get out of his car at the moment. And he knows quite well that he is probably one of the toughest drivers out there to beat on any given day. He is so good at saving his fuel. He is so good at attacking when he needs to. And as and when he has managed it, he has been a really, really tricky customer to go out there and to race against. And the sort of driver as well who loves to pay his respect too, because you see that helmet all in red. Well, we are at the Nurburgring. There is a corner named after the guy whose helmet that belongs to.
Yes, you're certainly right. And yeah, good to see all these guys out here. It's a pretty awesome community. It's the open wheel community, and yeah, they all like to look after each other, and we never really see.
Oh, that's Veek.
Yeah, that's Veek. Yep, we'll have a look and see what has gone on here.
Oh, it's contact there. So he tried to get down the inside of Anthony Catt, and this is a really weird instant here. So you're going to see it. They're going to take the run up the hill, and there's going to be 2 bits of contact here. The first of which is Thomas Veek desperately trying to defend. He goes to the inside. Catt goes to the outside. He catches the anti-cut curb, gets up on 2 wheels. Then Catt gets up on those 2 wheels, and effectively, it's tit for tat. It's a game of ping pong, and ultimately losing the point there is Veek.
Yeah, there we go. I'm wondering if Anthony Catt would have sustained damage from that incident. He did go pretty high in the air. Last lap time by obviously was always going to be a bit slower, but let's compare it this time by.
Absolutely, and we'll wait for them to get across the start-finish line. But these drivers starting to run out of laps here. 4 laps to go here at the Nurburgring. For the first time, Oliver Stepanov tries to break the toe on the front stretch down the hill in towards turn number 1, and he won't be buffeted by a chance. Tamas Simon gets close as well to Kalen Chin. he doesn't quite get a chance either. Top 4 split by 4 seconds as they run through, and that's just the look behind at Jorge Martinez, who is desperately trying to chase down Adam Gleeson. 3/10 at a time, the gap 1.6. He needs 4/10 now.
Yes, he certainly does. We've seen him do it in the past. Very good driver is Jorge Martinez. He has won races and is normally fighting up in that top 3. Potentially not as much practice from in the past week, but he's got to be happy with the top 6 either way.
Certainly will do, but he would like 5th place. I would certainly give him a little bit more help out there on this circuit. It's been an almighty battle from a lot of drivers in this field today, and they know that this race is far from over. And they battle all the way back to 16th and 17th. This is Isak Ruska making the move on Nathan Graham. Remember, Ruska's got the freshest tyres of anyone.
Yep, there we go. He made stop very late in the race. 7 lap old tyres he's got on now. And, well, his pace is pretty good at the back there. Certainly a little bit faster than Nathan Graham's.
Certainly a little bit faster. And he'll try and run forward. I'm not sure how much more he can get to maybe Chantal and wait, but right up underneath goes Ben Fuller again, and he knows that he's running out of time if he wants to make this move. 3 laps remaining here in this race, and if he wants to make that pass, it's not going to be this lap, but he's got to get within about 4/10 of a second when he comes around that Hyundai N curve to go and make something happen in this race.
Yeah, there we go. Certainly opportunities are running out. The last lap by identical times pretty much between these 2 guys. Only point 006 in it, so yeah, really close at the end of this one.
It is really close, but ultimately you've got to get into position to make a pass. It's such a tough place to go and make overtakes. We've said it a lot here over the course of these 29 laps, but you've got a narrow track where you don't have too much of a long straight. You're not hitting full throttle most of the time, or full top speed, I should say. But what you have to be alert to is that drivers, because of that, they're going to be down a lot on their top speed, running higher downforce packages because they don't need all of that top speed. They'll reach 305, 308, but they don't need any more because they're not going to really use it and utilize it where they can gain so much more in the corners with 2 to go.
Yeah, I think this is a great track. It would be awesome to see it extended and changed a little bit. Certainly probably one of my least favourite that we visit on the iRacing calendar throughout the different series. Does create good racing either way, but yeah, just limited passing opportunities.
There are limited opportunities, yes, but opportunities are there to be made. And if you can find an opportunity to go out there to challenge and to make something happen over the course of a long race like this, yes, it's only half distance, but it's still a really tough challenge. You can do something. The battle for the final spots in the top 10, that also continues on this penultimate lap. Kent Nielsen trying to fend off Marco Sanfilippo.
There we go. Kent Nielsen, seasoned veteran in the series, turns up here every week. I don't think I've had a week where he hasn't been on the grid, or maybe just one lap to go. He is under plenty of pressure here from Marco Sanfilippo. Doing a pretty good job, really.
Yep, certainly holding it off as they crest the rise. The last lap of the race starting then for your leaders. And again, a little break of the draft means it's not enough for Stepanov. Battle though on for 3rd. Here comes Simon around the outside of Kalen Chin. Hold on as we go nose to tail through turn 2. No dice. Kalen Chin just shutting the door as they went through for it at 3. And a little wiggle there from Simon.
Yeah, Simon was lucky not to lose that front wing there. It must have been millimetres away from touching that rear tyre. And I don't think there's too many other opportunities for him to get past at this point now. I think our podium is certainly pretty settled. It's side by side here though for Kent Nielsen and Marco Sanfilippo. Filippo looking for every bit of room he can.
Not getting it. And it shows there in the final stages. I think Simon might have a chance up into the chicane. but the leading duo, you can see Fuller and Stepanov. Here's the battle for third. It's all about this run out of this corner, but Kalen Chin with a great run immediately goes defensive here. You do get DRS through this section. Tamas Simon's going to have to throw a Hail Mary if he wants to try and get this one sorted on the brakes. The room is left by Chin, and they'll fight off the exit. But for Oliver Stepanov, as he rounds the final corner, he's going to pick up the victory as the battle for third continues and will go all the way to the line. Here comes the drag race. It's Kalen Chin that holds.
Oh, what a fantastic end to the race for those guys. Take a little bit further back, look further back here. Jorge Martinez. I think he's going to be able to gain any more. He's going to finish in 6th position. Still got a nice little battle on here for Kent Nielsen, Marco Sanfilippo.
He's gone straight off.
Oh, he's going to get a slowdown.
Yeah, and this is going to be Kent Nielsen picking that one up. Just knew he had to defend that outside, and he did enough. Marco Sanfilippo couldn't hold it, and ultimately on a great day for Italian sports with Ferrari back to their best and Italy winning in the rugby against Wales, it's not going to be for Marco Sanfilippo the 9th place finish that he has certainly been hoping for. Most, if not all of the drivers then have made their way through and found themselves to a finish. So let's get official classified results then here from the Nurburgring, the opening round of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. And Oliver Stepanov starts off his season correctly with a hard-fought victory, a win by just under 0.4 of a second over Ben Fuller in a time of 41 minutes and 36 seconds. He wins there quite nicely as Kalen Chin, absolutely scared, trying to see that move at the chicane. Tamas Simon picks up 4th just behind Kalen Chin. A great podium there for him. Adam Gleeson will finish 5th with Jorge Martinez in 6th and Darren Parker finishing off in 7th position. Bruno Canavas will take 8th with Kent Nielsen 9th. And the top 10 round out by Marco Sanfilippo, who could not make the move that they so very much wanted. Anthony Catt will take 11th with Thomas Veek in 12th. Adam Webb will take 13th position in that field. A gain of 8 makes him the tied biggest mover through the field. Stefan Chantal will finish 14th. The other biggest mover, well, was this driver, Isak Ruska, pitting as late as he possibly could, and he made his way back up into 15th place. Nathan Graham will take 16th with Pablo Suarez in 17th. Jan Stratinsky, your last finisher on the leading lap, in 18th, and 1 lap down would be Evan Way in 19th. All the other drivers then in this field out in the opening 2 laps of racing. Jacob Behrens in 20th position, and including the slow start from Darren Parker, all getting caught up in it was Jacob Reed, Victor Awad, Klaus Siemetz, and Thomas Knoll as well in trouble today from the Nurburgring. So some dramas up and down the order for certain drivers, and this being an incredible race at this Nurburgring track. What a place we've seen of racing. Fonty, if that's the start of the season, and that's how hard they're going to battle, not only at the front, but around this championship, I honestly cannot wait for more.
Yep, that's exactly right. We go to Spa for the next round of this championship. Next week, same time, and well, Spa turns it on in any series that goes racing there, and it certainly does in the iRacing Grand Prix Series.
It certainly does, and some great racing coming up then here as the road to Interlagos continues here with us. A massive thanks has to go to everyone who gets it done here at SimSpeed TV. The virtual racing school, once again for this year, are on replays for us. On top of that, massive thanks goes to the iRacing Open Wheel community helping us bring you some amazing racing action. From Scott Fountain pulling double duties, Fonty on cameras, Fonty on commentary, I've been Jake Sperry. It has been a race to remember in every single stage. The Nurburgring is always tough to overtake, but Oliver Stepanov proved that the Austrian has got what it takes as he puts himself in prime position after the opening round. But the road to Interlagos goes through a road very close to Liège-Bastogne-Liège. It is Spa-Francorchamps, arguably one of the great circuits, and it will be a great spectacle when you get high speed and you get overtaking galore. We'll see you 1 week from today as we jump over to Spa.
Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Alla, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.